What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And in this video here, we're gonna go super deep underneath the surface, and I'm gonna talk to you about why running a clothing brand is one of the most unique forms of businesses that you can ever decide to get into. I'm gonna talk about why that is, and how exactly this shapes the way that you should be operating your clothing brand moving forward. All right, I'm hooking you up. This video is sponsored by BrandCrowd. Now, what BrandCrowd is they just came out with a new tool called Logo Maker. And the Logo Maker tool has a vast library of professionally designed logos that are customizable. Okay, so you can add your own font, your own color, your own layout to it, and the tool is 100% free to try. And then if you like the logo, you can decide to purchase it and get the license for it to remove it from the marketplace so that it's entirely yours, all right? So I've added a link in the description below, and if you follow that link, you'll get 35% off when you check out. I'm hooking you up, check it out. All right, so when you step back for a second and you think about what a business actually is, a business is basically just an establishment that is created to offer a particular value to a particular group of people who have a particular need, right? And if you can fulfill that need and give them what they want, you're basically going to be a thriving business, okay? Now, what's unique about clothing brands is that most businesses out there, the value that they're offering their customers is almost entirely in the utility of their product, and it doesn't have as much weight on the social aspect. So for example, if you take a hammer company, a company that creates hammers, it doesn't matter how many celebrities have endorsed the hammer. You don't go to the Home Depot and be like, did Sidney Crosby or did Drake use this hammer? You're just thinking about, how does this hammer work? Is it good? Is it gonna get the job done? Is it going to actually hammer the nail into the piece of wood, right? But when you look at a clothing brand, almost all of the value that a clothing brand offers is in the social aspect, and almost zero of it is in the utility aspect. And the reason for this is because there's so much clothing out there. There are so many different clothing brands that it's so easy and cheap to actually get clothing that serves the utility function of what clothing is made to do, which is basically cover your body, cover your private parts. And now what clothing has turned into is almost purely just a social statement, okay? So almost all of the value that you're offering in your clothing brand is social value. So now what's really interesting about clothing brands is that since they require social value in order for you to make sales, because almost all the value they're offering as a clothing brand is social value, most clothing brands are either doing really, really bad or really, really good. It's rare that you'll find a clothing brand that's right in the middle, because in order for you to make sales, you need to be perceived as cool. And if you're perceived as cool, you should be able to make a lot of sales because you're perceived as cool, right? So it's really interesting, that journey from, starting up when you have absolutely zero social value, nobody's ever heard of you, you have zero followers, you're starting from square one, to getting to that point where you actually have social value now as a clothing brand. And what I want to do for you right now is talk to you about a cheat code, okay? How you can actually bypass that section of needing social value in order to make sales, how you can actually bypass that social value to get your first bunch of sales, which will actually be social value because you'll have customers, you'll have followers, in which case it creates social momentum and you'll start to snowball forward, okay? So the cheat code here for you when it comes to actually bypassing the social proof, because you need social proof in order to make sales, but you don't have it, how do you get around that? The way that you bypass that is connecting really, really deeply with your audience, okay? And I know that this sounds ridiculous, but as long as your clothing brand connects with somebody's identity on a deep level and they really, really resonate with your clothing on a deep identity level resonation, you will be able to actually make sales regardless of the social proof, okay? That is how we started up. That's also how we got our first endorsements from our celebrities. That's also how we, started making our first amount of sales. We had no social proof. We had no cool people wearing our clothing. We were basically just starting from square one, and we really did connect on a very real level, a very authentic level with our market. And as long as you're able to do that, that's your foundation. You need that from the beginning. If you can do that, that will actually allow you to get the social proof. And then if you're connecting and you have the social proof at the same time, good night. You basically win the game of running a successful clothing brand, because you have basically everything that you need in order to be successful as a clothing brand. You've got the relatability, the resonation, the connecting on a deep identity level, and at the same time, you've got the social proof, the social momentum, which is basically everything that a clothing brand is. And when you pile all that on, everything really takes on a life of its own, and it really starts to snowball in a good way really, really quickly. Hence the, no clothing brands that are in between bad and good. It's usually just you go straight from bad to good really, really quickly. This is why I always talk about getting out of your own head and actually offering value to people. Because if you're not connecting with your audience and with your ideal customer, you're basically screwed, because you really do need that foundation from the very beginning, where you're actually relating to something and you're meshing with your audience's identity, okay? You're really connecting with their identity, and you're bleeding right into it, and they see it and they go, oh my God, I really deeply resonate with this brand. It just connects on such a deep level. I don't even care who else is wearing it, really, because it just is who I am, and it's what I like, and I just think it's really, really cool. Then they buy it. Boom, that's one person adding to your social proof, and it just starts to snowball in that good direction, all right? So the 2 lessons that I want you to take away from this: number 1, start with the foundation of connecting with your ideal customers. I know I talk about this all the time, but that's basically everything when it comes to creating a successful clothing brand. You need to start off with that connection with your ideal customer. And number 2, work on constantly sending messages to celebrities, because once you do get that social proof and one of the celebrities in your niche connects with your message and they are down to represent it, that will also offer you way more social value, all right? Hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd be really curious to know exactly what you think about this topic. Let me know. I'll definitely be reading all the comments. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for apparel success. There's a link in the description below. Follow that link. Join us in the Facebook group. We're a bunch of clothing brand owners all in there to support each other and answer each other's questions. Thanks again for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.